I'm going to check it out in France. This is for evaluation. So yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. No worries. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you all for being here today. We're going to go ahead and get started because, well, it's a little after 7:30 and we know everybody's got busy schedules. So, thank you all for being here. We will go ahead and move forward with a motion and a second on the meeting minutes from our January meeting, which was on the 15th, and you all received these last week. Any questions, comments, or do they look all right? And we can go ahead and move to approve.
Move to approve.
Jim, thank you. John, thank you. And when you receive these electronically, you may notice that there are several hyperlinks throughout the minutes. And so I encourage you to click on those links and view either the, like if it's the job shadowing form application, it sends you directly to that page. Any links for video clips and things that we've talked about during the meeting are all there. So you can use that as a quick connect to the things that were discussed in the meeting. And hopefully that's a helpful tool for you. So, State Center Consortium highlights. The first thing that we want to talk about today is our Central Valley Career Technical Education Conference, which happens on February 4th. And it was a big project for our team, and we had a really great turnout. About 160 or so attended. We had a lot of educational administrators or leaders there, as well as some business partners from the community. And I've talked about this several times throughout as we were getting ready to have the conference, but I just wanted to reflect for a moment that we had a really well-received and very positive feedback from the people that attended the conference. The CEO of the Fresno Business Council attended, and she was very enthused and inspired by the message that we were trying to send about how businesses can be more engaged in our schools. And so I was very happy with the way that it turned out. I hope that, I know many of you were there, and so I hope that you felt it was a success as well. And we want to keep the ball rolling. We don't want it to be a one-day great deal, but nothing else happens after the fact. Obviously, one of the breakout sessions, and I think there were extra copies in the back if you didn't have one or if you weren't there, but we had several breakout sessions. Suzanne did a presentation on the E3 network, the Employer and Education Engagement Network, and shared what we're trying to do there, and has been furiously working with many businesses to get them engaged in what's happening. Dr. Michael Bizdak did an amazing keynote in the morning and was, like I said, very well received. And he actually, after the conference, he went back to New Jersey and he posted on his, his blog?
His blog.
On Johnson & Johnson's website. Some very positive things about the opportunity that he had to come and talk to the group. So that was really, really neat. He was a very, just a really neat person to meet, and we were very appreciative that he came out, and as a matter of fact, refused to let us pay him for any travel or time. That was all on Johnson & Johnson. So just a very good guy that wanted to do this out of his work. So, and then in the afternoon, Chris Rosander spoke about his experiences with CTE and the value there. And so overall, it was a great day. I'm very proud of the way that it turned out. It was, probably the biggest event we've ever, since I've been here anyways, that we've participated in, and I'm really happy for all of those of you that supported it, either as a facilitator, an event, a planning committee member, as a breakout session speaker, even as an attendee. We're just really glad to have you all showing your support and being there and learning with us along the way. So, any questions or comments or feedback about the CTE conference that we held on February 4th? Okay, all right, moving right along. We're going to move something up in the agenda real quick. I'm going to skip a couple bullets down to talk about the CTE Teach update. And in your file, you will see a printout of the Apple newsletter, which is the quarterly newsletter that CTE Teach sends out. And as I mentioned in our January meeting, Shelley was recognized for her exemplary mentoring abilities. And so we just wanted you all to have a copy of her being recognized for her work there. And then the other piece with CTE Teach is this pink form, and I'll let Shelley speak to that and give an update on what we're looking at.
Well, the good news is we've heard we're funded again. So this is will be year 5, which is pretty remarkable. Having it cut in half throughout the state to still be in the troops, that's always exciting. I did send out to those ROP coordinators a request for referrals for next year already. We don't know our funding amounts exactly, but I'm looking for where there may be openings new openings that you would like me to come alongside and train those teachers for next year. So I have already heard of 5 new positions for next year. So if you have someone you're wanting me to work with, please get in touch with me or with Debbie, and or fill out this form and leave it for us, and we'll follow up once we know what our funding levels are. But again, thank you all for your support, because this can't happen without support at the sites and at the administrative levels, where we can come alongside and do this confidential support and guidance for the teachers. So again, thank all of you too. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. Very valuable program. I'm sure Shelley's saved a few teachers along the way because of that support. And so we're happy to continue to support her in that work. And the folks at CRIROP that administer these funds are always very complimentary of Shelley's work and very happy to continue supporting us through that grant. So we're excited to continue that. Okay. I'm going to go one bullet up now and do the articulation update with Christina. I'm waiting on our Director of Grants to come before we discuss the Per Capita Trust. So, Christina, take it away.
In your folder, you also have this handout, the Goldenrod handout, and I went ahead and listed all of the pending articulation applications that we currently have. And as you can tell, there's several ones at different levels, and we've been trying to kind of move them along. There's several that's still waiting, the majority of them at the department chair level. So I've been communicating with our deans and our department chairs, our faculty members, who are going to be looking at these applications and trying to have them review them and either approve them or deny them. Because at the end, I also made a little note on the bottom to let you all know that March 21st and March 31st, bless you, are the last days for Reedley College and City College, respectively, to approve these pending applications for them to be approved for this semester. So several of these are also renewals, and some of them will be expiring in June, so that's why I'm kind of working pretty hard to try to get these reviewed and approved and renewed. So just wanted to let you all know that. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Also, I think one of the other things we wanted to also let you all know is that there's going to be some changes with regards to articulation. We've been meeting and having a work group. We've met a couple of times already. It involves some of our vice presidents of instruction from our colleges and centers, and our department chairs, our vice chancellor, Lori and I. We're looking at articulation in particular and aligning it to Title V, because we kind of looked at it, and the way we were kind of doing it was not granting the credit was a little bit problematic. So with the certificates and a lot of our courses that we're offering, we will need to waive the credit, so actually waive the prerequisite. And so then we're going to try to implement also a credit by exam for all of these, so that these classes or these students will be able to get some credit. So we're trying to see how to do that, and that's the purpose of the work group. Also, we're trying to, there's going to be some changes with OcuTrack, which has been functioning as our dual enrollment program. And so, but the college is also looking at changing that, because one of the problems was that the high school teachers weren't not necessarily teaching to the course outline. And for it to feel more like a dual enrollment program, they want it to be that the high school teachers are teaching to the course outline. So we're looking at all of these changes and discussing it, so we're going to keep talking about it, and we'll let you know when these changes will take effect and how it will affect your students and your teachers. And again, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to call Lori or myself. But again, we're discussing it, and it's all kind of changing. So.
Anything in regards to articulation policies and procedures, dealing with curriculum, is in the college faculty's purview. And so it is up to them to decide how things need to function. The problem they saw with OcuTrack was that the students were being duly enrolled based on an articulation agreement instead of based on them teaching the college's course outline of record. And so they felt that instead they would have the students complete a in-course assessment, and that would allow the students to still gain the letter grade in the course and the units instead of them being duly enrolled. So students have an opportunity to opt in now instead of enrolling everyone at the beginning of the semester. They kind of wait till a little bit later on, and I think April something. They gave us an earlier date, and just like and they basically, the students will get to decide whether or not they want to take the test, and if they do, then they have the opportunity to do so, and that will allow them to receive the units and the grade if they pass the course assessment successfully, of course. The thing with articulation that Christina's describing is that in some cases, the courses that are articulated are transferable, and the universities will not accept a credit, no credit for those transferable courses. And so students need to have a letter grade, and they're not able to do that based on an articulation agreement. So working with the statewide academic senate, our curriculum committees, and our college administrators, we're trying to figure out how we can differentiate those courses that are just articulated, that students can use a certificate, and it's okay to waive a course that's not going to be transferable, or have a credit by exam put into place for those courses where students will need that letter grade and those units to continue on in their programs. And so those are all things that we're trying to work through, and they're kind of guiding us through the process. We've had to open up some administrative regulations to update some of the language because it's out of date. And so what we're hoping will come out of this is a more clearly defined structure for how we will articulate with high school programs, how students will get the credit, and then the dual enrollment will be a separate piece. It won't continue to function as probably we have with the OCU track before. It'll be more of a standard dual enrollment model where the teacher becomes an adjunct faculty and is assigned a section by the administrators. So correct me if I'm wrong here, and because you guys are involved in the
I'm just
discussion
going
as
to
well.
add, when we had that meeting, we had a representative from the State Academic Senate from the community college side, and it was very helpful identifying some of these rules and rule changes. But what I took away from that is if it's a high school class that has high school curriculum and the teacher does not meet the community college requirements, then it's an articulated class. And if it's an articulated class, they need an end-of-course assessment, very similar to like the AP classes where you take this test, you get credit. If it's the college curriculum and the instructor meets the minimum qualifications for the community college, that is so much cleaner because they immediately get credit for that class. And so I know we've been, I don't know if I'm the only one in this room that has been meeting constantly on these CCPT grants, but that has been one of the pieces that we have added into all of these partnerships is the dual enrollment portion because it's so much cleaner than the traditional articulation.
Right, and you're right, that is a big piece of what the secondary partners are responsible for, is trying to provide those opportunities for dual enrollment to the high school students. And the college presidents are very supportive of dual enrollment. They want to see that be expanded upon. So it's an ongoing work, but we did want to keep you all updated and informed that things are changing. And so again, as Christina said, if you have questions, let us know, and we'll keep you updated as we move forward in the process. But as we all know, things take a little bit of time, so we're not assuming that there's going to be any final decisions made before the end of this fiscal year. We're hoping maybe fall. So those are our thoughts. Fabrizio had a question in the back.
Just for this year, are the 2+ certifications still going to be able to get the credits for those classes that were articulated after this year, or is that out the door? Or
The students will receive their certificates if they complete the course correctly, and they will still have the opportunity to waive those courses. It could be prerequisite coursework, or it could be coursework tied to a certificate or degree program at the community college. They can get that course waived, the one that was articulated, but they're not going to get a number of units on their transcript, as has been the past practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's still worth something. It's just that they cannot be awarded units as according to Title V. So that's why we want to move forward with the dual enrollment where we can. Or if they can't, if the teacher doesn't meet the minimum qualifications and they can work with faculty to, administer a credit by examination, that still allows students to get the letter grade and the credits on their transcripts. So we want to try to facilitate that as much as possible, and we will be definitely working with them to do so.
my question for the credit by exam, anybody can take the credit by exam, right? It doesn't have to be on a class that's articulated, right? How do you call it?
The difference, Fabrizio, is that this lady from Academic Senate, I think, clarified that there's two processes. If you're just a guy off the street, you can do credit by exam to pass the welding class, right? But there's a separate process for end-of-course assessment.
Okay.
And so it's not exactly the same. So the assessment doesn't have to be exactly the same if you were just a person challenging each
Okay.
class. So, but they do have to do some kind of end-of-course assessment. So there is a difference between the two, and the devil's in the detail of working that out. But we're trying to make it as easy as we can for those students, but they will have to take some kind of end-of-course assessment.
It sounded to me that was the same, so.
Yeah, there is two.
What's the difference between being a class that is articulated and taking a credit by exam and just being somebody off the street that didn't take to that?
For keeping the credit off the exam off the street, we have institutional requirements. So the person will have to be registered with the college. They'll have to have 12 units at least, and they'll have to be in good standing.
Okay.
So to just take the exam. And then not all courses have the department set up or approved credit by exam. It's on department by department basis. So that it'll work, the 2 plus 2, of course, type of class.
Any other questions regarding that topic? Okay, before he has to leave, I'm going to put him on the spot. Keith, can you stand up for just a second? Keith Johnson has been our student assistant since July, and he has accepted a position that is more geared towards his career interests. And so we are very excited for him, but we're sad to see him go, and I just wanted to acknowledge him today for all the work that he has done to help State Center Consortium. He has class in a little bit, so I wanted to make sure we mentioned him. Thank you, Keith, for all your work. Okay. All right. So at this time, I am going to, we're going to go ahead and play a short video called Success in the New Economy, and that's going to roll us into the Career Pathways discussion.
Education is core to our economy, but in order to guide our educational systems and maximize future income, we must understand the misalignment between education and our workforce. In my pursuit of higher education, I have earned 2 bachelor's degrees, 2 master's degrees, and am working on a PhD. In total, this has cost me over $150,000. I've done all this because I believe formal education is important. Part of this belief came from seeing charts like this, presenting a correlation between higher degrees and higher income, showing on average that a person with a college degree earns far more money than the average person without a high school diploma. This perceived higher earnings for having a 4-year degree has fueled a college for all philosophy, causing educators and parents to encourage going to the university, any university, to major in anything in pursuit of future job security, social mobility, and financial prosperity. This philosophy has increased college enrollment, resulting in 66% of high school graduates in this country enrolling in higher education right after high school. That's 2 out of 3. Initially, they are deemed the successful ones, but what you won't see advertised is the reality that most drop out, and only a quarter of those that enroll will finish a bachelor's degree. Only after these few graduate do many of them start exploring careers. It is here that they discover that their degree may not have prepared them for the world of work. You may be well educated, but not every degree is direct preparation for employment. This misalignment between degrees and job skills causes half of university graduates to be underemployed in what are called gray-collar jobs, taking positions that do not require the education they have received at a cost that is more than they can afford. Conventional wisdom suggests that a university degree guarantees a higher salary, but with rising education costs, a shrinking job market, and the oversaturation of some academic majors in the workforce, this old advice is now a myth for a majority of students. The economy and the world have dramatically changed. Over the last 3 generations, we've gone from 13% of the population stepping into a college classroom to 60% attending some form of higher education. In 1960, when taking into account all jobs in the American economy, 20% required a 4-year degree or higher, 20% were technical jobs requiring skilled training, and 60% were classified as unskilled. But what's the right percentage to meet the labor market demand for tomorrow? In 2018, Harvard University predicts only 33% of all jobs will require a 4-year degree or more, while the overwhelming majority will be middle-skilled jobs, requiring technical skills and training at the credential or associate degree level. A 4-year degree may have many benefits, but think about the people you know who, from an economic perspective, inefficiently spend time and money to get a degree that perhaps they didn't really need for the career they are in. The true ratio of jobs in our economy is 1 to 7. For every occupation that requires a master's degree or more, 2 professional jobs require a university degree, and there are over half a dozen jobs requiring a 1-year certificate or a 2-year degree. And each of these technicians are in very high-skilled areas that are in great demand. This ratio is fundamental to all industries. It was the same in 1950, the same in 1990, and will be the same in 2030. The hope for encouraging university education is that as the number of university-trained workers increases, the demand for their services in the workplace will increase as well. Unfortunately, this is not so. The whole pie may get bigger as the labor force and the economy grows, but the ratio will not change. The reality is, there will not be more professional jobs available within the labor market, and some professional jobs have been replaced by technology, or are being outsourced. Well-intentioned attempts to send more and more students straight to the university will not change the types of jobs that dominate our economy, nor will a college-for-all mentality mask these labor market realities. The college-for-all rhetoric that has been so much a part of the current education reform movement is often interpreted as university-for-all. This message needs to be significantly broadened to a post-high school credential-for-all. Students at various educational levels have left school without employable skills, setting up our children for failure, costing them and taxpayers millions. All while the labor market is desperate for highly trained, skilled technicians. So, how do you position yourself for high-wage, in-demand jobs? Let's say you were considering a career as either an electrician or a business manager. You would find that the average annual income for electricians is $51,000, only about half of the $105,000 average wage for management occupations. So at first glance, it looks as if getting a bachelor's degree in business is a no-brainer, but adding skills and ability into the picture adds a whole new dynamic. What if you have the potential to become an excellent electrician, but lack the skills and ability to be an excellent manager? Then you should be looking at projected incomes towards the bottom of the pay scale for managers and towards the top for electricians. You would then discover that electricians near the top of the pay scale make around $86,000, far higher than the income of a manager near the bottom of the pay scale at $52,000. Now this is just one example, but the concept is true throughout all industries. The claim that you will make more money with an increased amount of education is not necessarily inaccurate, it's just incomplete. That advice is based just on the averages, but no one is perfectly average. Everyone has unique skills, talents, and interests. In fact, the income for the top individuals in a wide variety of skilled jobs that require an industry credential or 2-year degree is far higher than the average income for many occupations that require a 4-year degree. Nationally, associate degree earners range between $27,000 and $68,000, while bachelor's recipients earn between $34,000 and $97,000. But this data only accounts for the 25th to the 75th percentile of full-time adult workers. This means that 25% of associate degree holders earn more than $68,000 annually, and 25% of bachelor's degree holders earn less than $34,000. Our world has changed, and in this new economy, the university degree is no longer a guaranteed path towards financial success as it was for previous generations. And even if you do earn one, that education alone may not be enough. In today's highly technical, knowledge-based economy, having hands-on skills and perfecting what you're good at can be more valuable than getting a degree in something simply to get one. Employers want to know what you can do and what you can do well, not just what degree hangs on your wall. Since new and emerging occupations in every industry now require a combination of academic knowledge and technical ability, we need to ensure that we're also guiding students towards careers and not just to the university. So before enrolling in classes or deciding what you're going to do next in your life, step 1 is self-exploration. In addition to your interests, really analyze your talents and strengths. Step 2 is career exploration. Understand the jobs available, the income ranges they pay, and evaluate the skills they require. Identifying an area that appeals to your interests, skills, and the labor market may be your first career, and then you can develop a tentative career plan, complete with multiple training and education options. The key is to align your interests and abilities with your first career choice and the education and training you'll need to receive. This alignment will help bring your future into focus and ensure your position at the top of the pay scale in your chosen career. What all this data shows is that success in the new economy is as much about acquiring the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed for in-demand occupations as it is to be well educated. Both paths may work for you, but education combined with technical training is how you ultimately secure a competitive advantage in the new economy. Community colleges are in the ideal position to provide over 70% of tomorrow's workforce with an education combined with applied technical skills, industry-driven credentials, and specific preparation for employment. Being a skilled craftsman or technician is highly valued. Investments in career education programs at high schools and community colleges will help all students obtain an education which includes technical training and preparation for the workplace. Ultimately, This is how all students can be successful. In the new economy, both education and technical skills are the new currency. Will you be ready?
So this video was sent out by the newsletter for the Doing What Matters initiative and was developed by a community college person, but I felt like it had a lot of good information, and I guess it's directed maybe at students to consider what their career options are, but it did talk about some key things that we're dealing with in regards to the Career Pathways Trust application, like developing career pathways at the high school and community college levels, and also the integration of academic skills with the technical application piece. And so I thought it might be a good lead into the discussion for today. The link will be in the follow-up minutes, but you can also go to Google and type in success in the new economy, and it'll pull it up on YouTube if you want to reference that video later on. But January 21st, the State Department of Education released the RFA for the California Career Pathways Trust. And the very next day, I sent out an email to all of our advisory members saying that we had the intention to apply on behalf of the Community College District and our consortium partners who wanted to be involved. We started investigating some labor market data, defined 6 pathways, and have been working furiously ever since to pull everybody together to make this happen. I want to make sure that I say thank you to all of you who have, even in the craziest of timelines, where, hey, can you do this by tomorrow? Requests that you have pulled through, because as you know, the grant is due next Friday, and we've had just a really tight timeline the whole way through, trying to pull all of our partners together. At this point in time, we have 19 school districts that have submitted partnership agreements, and there is a form in your folder that lists who those districts are. It looks like this. So it lists out who the K-12 partners are, and then who our community college partners are. Obviously, these are all colleges and centers within the State Center Community College District. Business partnership is also a huge piece of this grant application, and we have a whole lot more coming in, but I just only listed the ones that we actually have in our hot little hands, the business partnership agreements. I sent out an email last night about the partnerships for this grant opportunity, requesting the completion of a match form for those that are partnering in this application. And also discussing the business partners that you may have if you have collected any of those business partnership agreements. And when I say business partnership agreement, it's a form that we generated that has the language that's used in the RFA about what their responsibilities are in providing work-based learning experiences for students that are involved in these pathway programs. But many of you have existing partnerships already that we can use or leverage for this grant activity. And so if that is something that, and I know many of you have been working on those, but if we can get those turned in as soon as possible so we can make sure they're represented on the grant application, that would be awesome. The other thing that I mentioned in the email, and it was just trying to clarify some key components of the grant and what the Department of Education is looking for when they talk about career pathways. This grant in particular, in addition to it being a regional size grant with very many partners, which is something they are looking for, is to have a wide group of people that can work together to implement pathways across a county-wide is one of the terms that I heard them use. But academic integration is a key component, and I want to make sure that all of our partners understand that that is definitely something that is listed in the RFA as at the high school level, students moving through these pathway programs in a cohort type structure. So you have interdisciplinary instruction happening, similar to what happens at CART, where you have academic instructors teaching alongside a CTE instructor and collaborating consistently on curriculum and projects. That's what they're looking for, a linked learning type model. And I want to make sure that that's clear to everyone. The other piece, of course, as I mentioned, is the work-based learning and those business partnerships and making sure that students have those opportunities. Working with the E3 network, we can facilitate and enhance relationships with businesses and help work with the career specialists on the high school sites to place those students in those activities so that we're making sure we're meeting those grant objectives and requirements. And then, of course, the student support and guidance on the sites, and teacher professional development is another key piece, especially when we have so many partners. This grant is very, it's a little bit different than what we've dealt with before from, my knowledge of what the State Center Consortium has facilitated. It's a very large chunk of money, $15 million is what we're applying for. And what we're trying to do is, and these are the words of Russ Weichel, the director of the College and Career Transitions Division at the CDE, said that they are looking for systemic change on a regional scale. I've said it before, but that is what they're looking for. They want to see pathways implemented across the board that are preparing students for high skill, high wage, and high growth industries. And so it is imperative that we work together as a region to make sure that we're consistently implementing the pathways that we say we're going to implement. And so I'm here to help, and we have a lot of people that are participating in this, and that's exciting. But it's kind of a blessing and a curse, just to be frank with you, because everybody brings to the table what they can contribute or what they have done, and in some cases that is great, in other cases that may require some change on their behalf. So that's what we're here to do, is to help support what the grant is asking for us to do together as a regional collaborative. And so I wanted to just give you all the opportunity to ask any questions, where things are at in the process. The last couple of days we've had pathway meetings. We have 6 pathways defined, and on the back of that form you'll see what those are, and the high schools that have designated those pathways. We're still waiting on a couple to choose what their priority pathway is. We determined that with so many partners it would be cleanest to have each high school decide one pathway that would be their focus. And so there are a couple others. I think Firebaugh chose ag, and there was another one, Mendota, I think, did health careers. So they're trickling in here and there. But Shelley Connor is the Director of Grants for State Center Community College District, and she's here. Thank you, Shelley. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to address any questions or concerns from any of our partners, because when we submit this application, we are committing ourselves to doing this work. And I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that we are all ready to do what we say we're going to do. Because it is a big job. It is. And I'm a little scared.
So on the back of the page, these are each of the high schools
right.
and colleges are unduplicated. They had to select one.
No, that is a mistake. I'm sorry. Scratch Willow from health, and the colleges and centers have multiple pathways that these high schools are going to feed into. So that was a mistake on our part. Willow shouldn't have been listed. These are supposed to be the high schools that selected their pathway on this page. Yeah. And Fresno City. Excuse me. Yeah, Fresno City and the county.
And then
office,
there are some that are, like you said, not declared yet.
Yeah, I believe there's like 3 or 4 more. There's.
I'm looking here to Dr. Lomack, but like Clovis East isn't on the list yet, right?
Right, Clovis East
They should
hasn't.
be. Should be.
We didn't have a completed follow-up survey for Clovis East, so we can have them.
Lloyd, are adult schools participating?
Initially we sent this out to all of our advisory partners, and we got some information back. I think that through the AB 86 Adult Ed Consortium, we can facilitate some of the same activities But, you know, I guess that would be up to the member districts to decide if that's, you know, I mean.
When I'd asked that at the workshop, and they said 9:14, 12, 9:14, I'd specifically asked. So I need to have clarification, because otherwise, then we need to include all of the adult schools from our partner districts.
Okay. I'll get clarification. Any other questions?
And then if they have one, what you call it, primary pathway?
Yes.
Then, but they can be involved in multiple pathways?
Well,
Sorry to ask that.
it's State Center Consortium receives multiple grant funding opportunities, and so when we do collaborative meetings, if there are activities happening at other campuses that, you know, they want the same types of courses and they want to be involved in discussions or see maybe how they can go back to their site and start working on the same thing, fine. But this grant fund would be specifically for these high schools within these pathways. It doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to support all of our consortium partners with the similar activities that we've been doing over the last, you know, many years.
If I can contribute to that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
The reason why I attended the Monday meeting regarding the water, energy, and the ag mechanics part of it was because part of the grant says it needs to be sustainable. So in the worst case scenario that we're not accepted to get this grant, I want to continue with this momentum and wave and continue to build pathways in those areas regardless of whether I get this grant or not. So David's comment about being in multiple pathways, I'm going to do that. I'm focusing on the health careers one because that's where the money's going to be at. I'm still going to be attending those meetings with the ag deal because that's important to my school and my community.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying
If I might add for Preston City, absolutely same approach. You know, talking with the deans and the faculty, we're using this as an opportunity to inventory where we're at, you know, with partnerships and how well developed or in need of development. It's the same thing. It's that this is a continual process.
So this is just the leverage that I need to build these pathways at my school.
We should use this learning that we're having in this collaborative partnership to continue to build strong, sustainable pathways across all of our high schools. However, $15 million across 19 districts, 28 high schools, is not as much money as we think. So we have to begin with one pathway. There are accountability measures that come with this grant that we need to be able to meet. And doing that with, starting with one as a model, if you will, to then build out other linked learning type pathways on your high school campuses. So the learning from all of these subcommittees should be extended to everyone as we continue to move across. However, the funding needs to be focused in a way in which we can actually get some traction with that money.
Thank you, Sally. Yes, absolutely.
And
That
on
was
top-
one
on
thing.
top-
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
On top of what Sally said, the video we saw this morning, maybe it can be sent to Sacramento. Lori's going to get the grant, but it should be $15 million ongoing. This is one time. And I think with the work that Lori's doing, and all of us know how great hard she's working, this is not going to be enough. She needs more. So maybe every 3 years she gets $15 million.
We can sure try. Well, and what they're telling us from the state, what Russ said a couple weeks ago in Sacramento was that, you know, they're using this as an investment to see if we can do this right. If we can do this right, then there will be an incentive for them to continue to invest in technical education. If we use these funds as a way to just supplement what we've always done, that's not going to be, you know, that's not going to be what they're looking for. And quite frankly, what we said was that the funding for all CTE would be, you know, just eliminated from the state budget. So this is a great opportunity for us to learn from each other, as Sally said, and work together to use this as kind of the pilot at these sites to get things going, but then to continue expanding upon those pathway programs. And what else was I going to say? Any other questions or comments? Shelley, did you have anything to add from the grant writer perspective?
Just first of all, to thank everybody for your quick responses for all of the requests for information and the meetings that have come in a very fast timeline, because the timeline is very fast. And as we're working forward, questions that are coming up are related to, what can we do with money and how are we really leveraging our resources. And it is important for all of us to remember that these monies can't, as they say in the grant world, supplant what you're already doing. These monies have to be used to create additional opportunities for students above and beyond the opportunities that are already present in your schools. That doesn't mean that you can't build on the work that you're already starting in the creation of pathways, but you can't replace your own investments that you're already making with your district funds with these dollars. These dollars have to support the work that you're already doing. So we're just being very cognizant of that particular component of this particular grant opportunity. And as it's already been pointed out, $15 million sure sounded like a lot of money back in January, but it gets spread pretty thin. And so the ability to leverage resources, I think, is really important. We've talked about professional development as a strong component here, and certainly professional development activities can be extended to your instructors and our faculty beyond the direct pathways that are listed here as an example of how these dollars can be leveraged to support the creation of pathways that may not be these pathways at your schools, and to start to extend this work into other areas. So, we're working hard, and we thank you all for all your help to get an enormous amount of work done in a very compressed timeline, as most grant applications are, with this one especially with so many programs.
Thanks, Shelley. And already after Monday and Tuesday's meetings, I heard comments from high school folks and community college folks that were involved in the meetings that they met people they hadn't met before, and that they're having conversations already that they that hadn't happened before. And so that's encouraging to hear that they want to connect and they want to work together, and so this is an opportunity for them to do that. So if you need anything along the way, please feel free to contact me. I appreciate your patience and understanding as we've gone through this, trying to keep up with all of the communications going back and forth. And so we'll all be able to breathe a little easier after next Friday's submission deadline. So with that being said, I just want to touch real quickly on the AB 86 Adult Ed Consortium. The member districts that participate in that elected me project director for that planning grant. It's just shy of $500,000, and it's a planning grant for us to build a regional comprehensive plan for adult education. And so we were able to hire a project coordinator, and she's coming to us from Fresno Unified on loan. And so we're excited to get her on board, and we will start the planning process. Our next meeting will be April 4th, I believe, and we'll send out that information. I did hear from our grant monitor already. This is an allocation by the state. It wasn't a competitive grant. Anyways, he encouraged us to reach out to even the districts that are not adult education service providers, but that still want to be involved in the discussion. You're welcome to come to those meetings, and feel free to participate and do so, even if you currently don't have an adult ed program. Those that are service providers are the ones that are voting members of the consortium, but again, you're welcome to attend those meetings if you'd like. So we'll, and those are posted on our website as well, if you would like to be involved. Review of events, and I'm going to start picking up our speed here because I know it's already 8:30, but on January 17th, we had a workshop or training for the approved OcuTrack instructors. Right after that was when we heard from Curriculum Committee that they felt there needed to be credit by exam implemented for this semester. And again, the procedures that we're doing this semester for those OcuTrack sections is a temporary fix. It's not what we are planning to do long term, but anyways, Christina pulled those instructors together, and they talked about WebAdvisor and grades and all those types of things. And she's been in close contact with them along the way, keeping them posted. So If you aren't sure, check in with your instructor, and they are up to date on things, or feel free to contact Christina as well. On January 24th, we hosted a small group of automotive instructors at Fresno City College, thanks to Marty Kamamoto from Fresno City and Jason Mulliken from Clovis High. And they talked about the new NATEF standards and what it would take to get other programs NATEF certified. And so they had just attended a training in Virginia, I believe. NATEF just changed their standards and requirements, and so they were able to share that out with the group, so that was beneficial. The dual enrollment conference was attended by myself and the VPs of instruction and Christina, and this was very beneficial. It was held, and Ellie was there too. Was held down south in Costa Mesa, and it was a great opportunity for us to learn best practices on what's happening with the other community colleges in our state with dual enrollment, and hopefully that will propel that conversation forward. I talked about the Central Valley Career Technical Education Conference on February 4th. We initially had planned a culinary collaboration meeting on February 26th, and then Fresno ROP took it a step further and had a really great training planned at Tenaya Lodge, and so we said let's combine our two events, and so we helped sponsor some teachers to go to their training instead, which worked out wonderfully. And Christina and I went up there for a few minutes that morning, and they were doing a really neat training for the culinary instructors on food service and things like that. So we were happy to help support that event. The Educating for Careers Conference, we sponsored, I think we did 10 scholarships as we do each year for teachers and administrators to attend that conference, and I was there as well. The apprenticeship workshop was just last week on March 11th. And we have Scott Lewis here, who is the coordinator of the Carpenters Training Committee and also the current chairman, right, for the Central Valley Apprenticeship Coordinators Association.
Yeah, the apprenticeship workshop went out great. We always target for about 100 high school students. And when we do the enrollment, we're selecting juniors and seniors for students that are currently enrolled in CTE programs throughout the districts. We ended up with 98 in attendance. This was our 17th year. Well received. It's a great opportunity for kids to find out about what most people call the best kept secret, apprenticeship programs. It's an earn while you learn program. It costs no money for our students to attend. It's equivalent to the 4-year bachelor's degree at a college. You know, the video that we just watched was very interesting, where you see the income levels that are projected for what level of education, and the apprenticeship is that role model of education and skilled training. So with the hands-on training on the job site by qualified journeymen, and then the technical education backing up what they're learning on the job once every 3 months or during nights, some classes during the weekend, basically builds that total package. I see a lot of my community partners in here, and let you know what apprenticeships are doing is we're trying to build more community ties. Being partnered with community-based organizations gives those organizations opportunities for those pathways that you have. Those construction, technical education pathways that you're offering at your school, the welding programs, the electrical, the engineering, manufacturing, will usually set you up with a partnership with one of the programs in this area or throughout California-wide. Those partnerships offer either direct entry into programs, or it will offer a priority status, moving them from 600 on the applicant list to number 1 when the jobs are available. We don't constantly bring students in. It's brought in by a need basis, meaning we don't want to bring people in, enroll them into the school, and not have them work, because it's an earn while you learn. The contractors are paying for the apprentices to get the training that they need for their performance on the job. The WIT conference that we did on March 12th, the day after, this was our first year, and it was phenomenal. We had 4 TV stations out there. We named Lori as our spokesperson for the WIT program. I named Karina our director for the program. We did all the online scheduling. It filled up relatively quick. We had nearly 100 interested young ladies there to learn about the trades, and it was phenomenal. The spirits in the room, the enthusiasm with the hands-on portion. A lot of the kids got to be on the TV for news, and hearing their comments emphasized that we did do the right thing, that there is a little bit of timidness about a female entering into an old stereotype of this is a trade for men. And that's not the fact of it anymore, and it hasn't been for a long time. So we're trying to change that perception, and I'd like to give a really big thank you to Lori for everything that you did, and Karina, phenomenal job. So we had speakers from experienced trade women throughout all the different industries there that were there to talk to the young ladies about their experiences, why they chose the craft that they love, and how they did become successful. And a lot of these ladies now are directors of organizations or coordinators for different organizations and are involved in the recruitment. So we look forward to doing it again, and like I said, it was great. It was a great turnout. It was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of good comments back on it.
Yeah, the WIT conference, the Women in Trades conference, was really inspiring, even for me to listen to these tradeswomen on the panel talk about, you know, how they decided to go into the trades and the successes that they've had. And Karina did an amazing job putting everything together. We just helped get the word out so we could get students there. But it was great. We had a great group of young women that attended, and there were several of them that were already ready to sign up to become apprentices. And so it was just a really good day. So thank you all for having me be a part of that. 10 job shadowing opportunities are still available through October. And again, I know usually this happens maybe over the summer for your teachers or faculty members that want to go out into industry. But let us know if we can facilitate that. We do have those funds available to support them. The scholarship applications are in green, and I just want to note that, you know, it is spring, of course, and there are a lot of student outreach activities happening on the college campuses, like the showcase at Fresno City, where there's the career skills happening. There's Willow and Madera Center usually have like extravaganzas where they invite high school students to come on campus. Reedley College has their what is it called? Safari days, that's right, since they are the Tigers. And so if you have students that you want to take to the college campuses for those student outreach activities or events, we can help provide transportation expense for that. So please let us know, and you can use that green form, and that's located on our website as well. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're going to get to Karina. She's here from the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, and she wanted, I asked her to be here today to share a little bit more about how we've been able to work together and what they do at the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. So
thank you. I'm really just so great. It's so good to be here. I haven't been to one of these, and I wasn't even aware of them, so I think this is a great platform to talk about apprenticeship, and for the sake of time, I'll try to present really quickly, but in your packet here, Debbie was so kind as to make copies of the apprenticeship opportunities that are in the Central Valley. And I don't know how much you're aware of apprenticeship, but typically 4 or 5 year programs where the apprentice is working on the job, earning an income, and then also there's a classroom component built into the schedule of a minimum of 144 classroom hours per year throughout the program. There's over 400 programs throughout the state of California. It's the best hidden secret. We like to use that one. And I'm going to just give you some benefits. There's this next month we're actually celebrating 75 years of apprenticeship in the state of California, and the reason for that is because the model works. There's several things, benefits I wanted to point out. First and foremost, when you complete a program, when a student actually completes a program, they don't leave there with $40,000 plus in student loan debt. They actually leave there with no debt. They actually have skills. They've worked the entire time, so they've actually learned the trade. Unlike someone graduating from college who, at that point, needs to figure out what to do. A lot of these trades, they go in making a livable wage from the moment they're accepted into the program, unlike maybe some of those in college who are working maybe minimum wage jobs to get through college. They're actually starting out at a livable wage, and they're leaving the apprenticeship program and becoming journeymen and women with an exceptional wage that's equivalent to a college degree major salary. So those are some of the benefits. Also, I want to just point out that the training centers are there. You'll see those that are here in the area. There's many that aren't in the area, but the work is still here in the area. So they could still be here at home, but be sent away to school a couple of times a year, maybe once a month on a Saturday. Each program has designed their classroom, trained their curriculum their own way, so that's how that works. The training centers are overseen by the Department of Industrial Relations. That's the department I work for, and my manager over here, Rachel, we work for that department, and the two of us work out of an office here in Sacramento and cover the Central Valley region from Bakersfield to Modesto. The curriculum is all overseen by the Chancellor's Office, the community colleges, and the adult schools that are their local educational agencies that work with them. And they also receive the RSI funding, the related supplemental instruction funding that helps to support these programs. Let's see. Oh, the best thing I like about the program is that when a person completes the program, they actually get a certificate that considers them a journeyman or a journeywoman in the trade. It's equivalent to a bachelor's degree. Some of the programs, actually, I'm finding out just last week in our conference that some of them, the way they work with the colleges, actually give them an AS degree. I know sheet metal was one. I wasn't aware of that. So I'm finding more out as I continue to work this job. But that's some of the benefits, and I just wanted to point that out. I actually can't just by myself get to every single high school and do the career fairs, but I do the best that I can. I do have my cards here if anybody would like to email me for this packet in a PDF version for your counselor's offices or to pass on to your students. I know not everybody is college ready. I have a child that is not. Debbie Kelly actually knows my child, and we're working on figuring out a career path for her. But there are also other trades or other occupations that are in apprenticeship, not just building construction. So CAL FIRE has a program, Caltrans has a program, and we have several employers that also have private employers that have programs internally that aren't listed on our website. And all I can ask is how high schools can help is just inform your students that it is available, it's an option for them. And then also with community colleges and adult schools, I'm constantly getting calls for people, companies, manufacturing companies and the like, trying to establish a program. I have a lot of calls for cosmetology programs, and we're constantly looking for local educational agencies that will look at the curriculum, oversee it, receive the RSI funds, and help support these programs. So any school that's open to an opportunity like that, I'd love to have a meeting with you and see what we can do. Specifically, a maintenance mechanic program, a machinist program, and the automotive programs are looking for an LEA to work with currently to provide some classrooms, especially in the evenings, because these folks usually work in the daytime, so it's necessary to have classroom instruction in the evenings. And if anybody has any questions for me.
Thanks for being
Covered it all.
here. Yeah,
Thank you, Lori, so much.
Okay, so Mark, any updates from the County Office of Ed Instructional Technology Department that you want to share?
Just two. One, I know it was mentioned last time, Picture the Valley. The Academic Film Festival is coming up April 8th. Submissions were completed, I think, last week, and we have upwards of, I think, about 60 videos from more schools than we've had in the past, so that's a good sign. We'd just like to see as many people there that night as possible. So April 8th starts at 5:30 at the Veterans Memorial Building. So come one, come all. And then the only other thing is coming up, we have 2 different week-long workshops during the summertime that are geared towards Common Core implementation. One is the week of June 18th, and then the other one is the first week of August. So those 2 events, you can go to commoncore.fcoe.org and inform some of your teachers and staff about that.
Okay, thank you for being here. All right, and some other upcoming events. There's a calendar included in your packet, but even with a large grant application due, things don't slow down around here. We have 3 large events going on next week. Tuesday night, we are having the Spring Joint Advisory Meeting at Reedley College, and that is our 5th annual event between Reedley College and Valley ROP. Their teachers, faculty, and advisors come, and it's a great event to pull everyone together. On March 26th, and there is a separate flyer for this event in your packets, and that's next Wednesday, we have our annual counselor workshop, and this is for high school and community college counselors to attend. We have some great presenters set up. We're having industry sector navigators come in and talk about career opportunities for our central region. We also have Chris Costa from the Statewide Pathways Project coming to talk about a new website that has been developed that links the high school programs directly to the college programs and degree requirements. And then our own Dean of Admissions and Records, Pedro Avila, will be there to discuss the new Reg to Go process. I know that's what everyone's going to come because they want to ask him all kinds of questions about how our district has changed some of those procedures and what that's going to look like for this year. I believe it's April 8th and 9th is when the Reg to Go is going to happen, and it is quite different than what we've done before. And so we highly encourage you to send your counselors to this event next Wednesday. It's going to be held at the Madera County Office of Education's Conference Center. Thank you, Kathy, and the team from the Madera County office for allowing us to use that beautiful facility. And there is a small registration fee to offset some costs, but $30. Send your counselors. We really want them to come. So this is next week, so our cutoff really is by the end of day Friday. So get them registered as soon as possible if they can go. High school and community college counselors. We also have Thursday, the Fresno City College Career Skills Challenge, and always happy to be a part of that. And again, that's Fresno City College's outreach showcase day that they do. And so if you want to send students, let us know. We can help support you in that. The Junior Achievement STEM Summit is going to be April 2nd, coming up in a couple weeks, and that is going to be at the Bill Smiley Aviation Center. Thank you, Doug, for hosting that event out there. The students, we have about 100 students coming from various high schools that have STEM-related programs, and they're going to get to do things like weigh a Cessna. Am I correct on that? So some really neat STEM activities are going to be happening. We kind of modeled this after the apprenticeship workshop that we do with the students in those programs. So we're excited to see how that comes together, and Michelle Calandra, the Junior Achievement Director, is really heading that up and has pulled a lot of great resources together. April 4th, that Friday, will be the Tiger Romp, which is another collaboration between Reedley College and Valley ROP, and it's similar to the Career Skills Challenge, but on a little bit smaller scale. Students will be able to compete in various CTE competitions, and that's going to be held that day. The Public Services Awareness Day, which has been held the last few years at Clovis East, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, is going to be back at Kerman this year?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's going to be on April 10th. Do I have that date correct? I pulled it off the Fresno ROP agenda. Okay, good. So that's another opportunity if you have students in either the criminal justice programs or fire science programs, any public services, could be EMT, I guess, health, maybe if they want to send students out to Kerman to, and they do all kinds of activities, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
They do competitions, and I think they did like a cool body drag or something last year. Wasn't that the thing?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to be there, but I want to go this year because it's a pretty cool deal. So they have multiple state and federal agencies represented, and so students get to explore all those different career fields. We are hosting another CTE Model Curriculum Standards Workshop on April 24th for anyone that still wants to learn more about the new CTE standards. And Fresno ROP's advisory is going to be April 30th at the Clovis North Center, Clovis North Educational Center. And we, again, appreciate being a part of that activity as well to support those advisory committees. So one last thing that was in your folders is the project-based learning workshop. I just got this information from the California, the California chapter of the Association for Career Technical Education, and they're hosting these project-based learning workshops, one in Northern California and one in Southern California. And I just thought I would share that out with the group. If you have teachers that would like to attend that workshop, let us know if we can support some of that expense. We can maybe do a scholarship or something like that. So again, you know, we have funds that expire June 30. We have funds that expire early next year too. So help us help you spend some program money. Let me help you with that. Yes, Doug.
Yes, Mayor's Youth Job Fair coming up. We have one of our committee members that has flyers and posters available to go on campuses.
Thank you. And that's March 16th, am I right?
April
16th, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I guess we passed March 16th. Sorry. Have my months all blended together.
Can I give out a phone number for getting flyers and posters?
Sure.
It's Joe Oliveris at 559-355-6100. He'd be happy to deliver flyers or posters for on campus for the information of the Mayor's Youth Job Fair.
And the Mayor's Youth Job Fair is quite a large event. There's several thousand students, I think, that attend, right? And they get to meet with employers and have opportunities to get summer jobs and things like that. So it's a really great event. Thank you for mentioning that, Doug. I do want to just one more time mention the deadlines for the pending applications. What was the final approval cutoff?
March 21st is for the last approval date for Reedley College, and March 31st is the last day for City College to approve or deny the application.
And the reason why we have those dates is because in order for it to move through curriculum committee and our ECPC committee and the board approval by the end of the semester, in order for it to be effective, that's our cutoff at that point. So again, thank you for sharing that.
Christina, can you clarify, does that mean they have to start completely over if they're not approved by March 21st or March 31st?
If it's a new application, no, if the application's already pending in there, it'll just move over to the next semester and try to get approved
so
through
fall.
the next. The only issue is if it's a renewal and it's going to expire June of this semester. That's why we're trying to move it forward, and I'm trying to talk to the department chairs and the faculty to make sure that the renewal ones and all the ones that are kind of pending are looked at and reviewed.
And then Alan, I want to give you an opportunity to share out the first robotics competition that you hosted there at Madera High, right?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. First of all, it was an amazing event, a lot of energy. We were talking about CTE education, when you're looking at opportunities for kids to apply what they're learning in a classroom in a very meaningful way. It really does exemplify that. Just the energy at an event like this, there was 45 teams there, approximately 2,000 in attendance on those various days. Actually, Saturday and Sunday, it really was, I think, a life-changing event for so many kids. And again, to really give them a sense of to dream the possibilities and to look into the future. An event like this, I think, not only for the high school kids, but also younger generations to be able to come in and see what's possible. And again, I think one of the exciting things too with this event, we also held something which was new this year, a VIP event. We had over 30 companies in attendance, along with superintendents from different districts, as well as county superintendents, as well as assemblymen, a lot of politicians. It was really neat to see the community, our surrounding communities, involved in an event like this and to support the kids and to make something like this possible, to give that kind of opportunities to our Central Valley kids. It was kind of cool too, because the first time ever we were ready to make history at this event. If you don't know how an event like this works, it's not just one high school competing against another high school. You form alliances, and That's done throughout the course of the 2-day event in terms of competition, where you have qualifying matches, and then based on your rankings, you're able to select alliances. And so Buchanan High School was ranked very high. In fact, I think they were ranking number 1, and they chose Madeira as well as Duncan. And it was the first time ever where there was a Central Valley Alliance taking on the big boys out of San Jose. So it was very exciting. We got to the finals. The Central Valley Alliance lost in the finals to Silicon Valley, basically. That's where the teams were from. But it was really cool. A lot of fun. So again.
Great job. Thanks so much for sharing. I wish I could have been there. Sounds like an awesome event. So, is there anyone else that would like to share anything with the group before we adjourn our meeting this morning? Other exciting things that we didn't mention? Okay, and please forgive me, Dr. Minkler is new to the advisory board this year, and he is here from the Academy for Civic and Entrepreneurial Leadership. Did I get that right? Yes. Okay, so I want to make sure I introduce him before we adjourn. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Thank you all for being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you in May for our last advisory meeting of the year. Take care.